everybody, Benita Hutchison here with your July forecast. Sorry it's so late. I was one sick puppy for the last several days, so I'm finally getting on the other side of it, but I was not in any shape to do this forecast for you. I had quite the cold. So we're going to proceed and let's see what comes up for this month. I will switch cameras. All right. And we're going to start off by picking a card for the month. And we're getting the Throne of Summer. Die here. As usual, it's just going to be whatever's supposed to show up. That's what we're going to work with. If it leaves the map, it's not for this reading. We did have a few disappear. Okay. So, first thing we want to do is look at the chaos die, and it will determine a lot about what's happening on the rest of the mat. So we see, this time with the chaos die, that's right there, we have the burning bridge. So it says, burning bridge is as it sounds. You move forward, but the cost of ever returning to cross again. There's no going back in a very real sense. So this is going to be super interesting to see how this plays out in the rest of the die. It's asking, like I said, in the core of a reading, it's a burning question. The way forward is impossible to undo. The reading tells you, reminds you what all rests here around you. Does it help you make the decision? And we have these three lined up. So we're going to see how they play out. But it's very much, we've talked a lot about how stuff in the past needed to inform the present. Now it's saying, let the past go. Just look at what you need to do to move forward. We're also going to look at the fate die. Okay. Fate die is showing up as the ace. And it's the perfect thing you need. It's more than a card, it's a silver bullet. So it's coming up in a reading, tells you exactly what you needed will be there in your hand when you need it. So in other words, it's saying you can leave the past alone because you got what you needed out of it. That works with the burning bridge. You got what you needed, so just let that be. The actions die is, I don't know if you can see this, it's an arm with a sword, and it's called haste. Haste desires speed and action. Something must happen, it must happen soon, or the opportunity for it to happen will be gone. And it's in the present. So in other words, it's saying it is time to do this thing. And you can see it's going to be connected with the dice that's right next to it. The alley die is in the past, and it's called strays. So it's a little stray cat. It says, when you see this in a reading, it speaks to those abandoned by the world system, or you specifically. Things have been abandoned or lost, and you must recognize what's been left behind in your actions, in your haste to enact change. So in other words, something was lost in the past because of the things you went through. But we also know we burned bridges, so it's accepting whatever was lost. Not necessarily trying to claw it back into the present, just going, okay, there were losses, I can let those losses continue to run my life, or I can accept the loss and move on. The autumn die is over here under inevitable, and it's called change. It's the element of transformation, so it's much more aligned with personal change. if it's the action die, but the change phase is broader. It can mean change of jobs, relationships, physical change, going from rich to poor, or anything else. So in other words, it's saying change is inevitable. And what it's telling you here is don't dwell in the past. There's things you need to do right now. There's an immediacy to this. And change is inevitable, so stop resisting change. Allow change to occur. Allow yourself to move forward. Don't bemoan the past. That's just going to keep you stuck there. The elements die is under present, and it's called soul. Soul is the human identity, love, companionship, connection, the very concept of the self. It's the most human face in any die. So it's about being patient, just accepting humanity, as it were, and the humanity of ourselves. So it's an interesting dice to show up here because it's saying something needs to be done quickly, but this should be coming from soul level, from the clarity of having really listened to yourself. You're acting from a deeper level in this situation. And if you've been doing the inner work that's been called for as we've been working with these forecasts, then you're ready to make that change. The Goblin die is over here. It's under manufacturing. And manufacturing speaks to the movement to making a thing real. So we might imagine things in our life, but we have to do the hard work to bring it into reality. And again, embrace change. There's work to be done here. Don't go into depression of, and if you're depressed and you need to get help for that. That's one thing. But don't just go into sort of a blue mood and go, oh, this has been hard. Instead, it's looking at, okay, this has been hard, but change is needed now. I'm going to embrace change. And I'm going to get to work, because if I want things to be different going forward, it's now incumbent upon me to do something about it. We have the influences die under history, and it has a smile. And it basically speaks to good intentions, people trying their best. So part of our letting go of our history is to know, even if very flawed people did things that hurt us, everybody's doing the best they can with what they know. It's usually our unconscious patterns running that cause us to be hurtful and, to do those things that, we wouldn't choose to do if we were really conscious. So when we look at maybe stuff growing up, well, how were our parents raised? What did they learn? What did they pass forward unwittingly because they're not conscious? We're all here to wake up. We all have things we can look back on and say, I wish I'd handled that differently. I wish I'd been aware at the time. That's why it's so important in this case to just say, okay, everybody was doing the best they could. You can also say everything that happened was on my path to enable me to be who I am now. Therefore, I'm growing from it. Therefore, I can, look on it with some compassion and appreciation that it's helped me grow, that, I'm here doing what I'm doing for a reason, because those experiences sparked the desire in me to grow as a person, to do the spiritual work. So in the present, next to this one that says, get on it, get something done, we have the stitches one. It's the act of sealing or mending a wound. So it could be mending fences with somebody else. It can also be mending your own fences. Stitches may show what the wound is and how to heal it based on the dice around it, but mark that the die on its own speaks for itself. And here it does. It's saying, it's time to mend this wound. There comes a point where you either go, I'm upset because of things that happened in the past, and you get stuck there, or you say, okay, these things happened. I can't change the past, but I sure as heck have a choice over what I do with it going forward. We can use the past to inform and empower us to make positive, powerful change in our lives, or we can let it hobble us and hold us back. We all have a choice over that. Interesting that the longings die is just off the mat. And it's about masking. It's about hiding. So for me, the fact that it's near the mat but off, it says it's time to not hide anymore, to not wear a mask, to not pretend or hide from the, behind the persona you created to survive your life. It's time to come out and show up as the real you. So in the core, we have the Major's die. And it views each of the quadrants to be unique spaces and wants you to read them as that as well. So each quadrant speaks to a different part of a larger question, and they're distinct and separate pieces. And so far we can see that it's saying, burning bridges here. Leave the past in the past. Get something done now. Come from soul level and start to heal your wounds. We haven't gotten to the future yet, but we're clear here. Change is inevitable, so deal with the change. Take concrete action now. Don't dwell in ifs and maybes, but start making a plan for how you're going to take what you're learning and turn it into something real. It's an amazing thing when you actually say, okay, I'm going to write down my goals. I'm going to write down a plan for how I'm going to take what's happened to me in the past and turn it into something constructive, whether you're writing poetry because of it or you're helping other people who've been through similar experiences. What are you doing to help move forward on this? Okay, we have the Mariner's die next. And the Mariner's die is up here, ocean. And when it comes up, it speaks to the nature of the element. In other words, it's more practical. So the ocean speaks to change, constant, amoral, and without thought. So it's basically mirroring this one, saying change is going to happen, but don't take it personally. Instead of going, oh, things should have been different for me, or people should be different toward me, this is the way this is. How do I work with it rather than fight what's happening in your life? Now, we have this one that's just off the mat as well. It's the milkweed one. And it's basically saying it's a plant that replenishes the butterfly at all stages of life and sustains them in their life cycles. It's a symbol of sustenance, healing, and recharging. So it's framing this situation, saying this is a time to heal. This is a time to find the energy you lost through the experiences you have in the past and claim it for yourself. So if you go, well, this person did this to me, and therefore I'm this way, you just gave that person your power. You just gave away your energy. But by saying, therefore, I learned this, and I'm going to apply this energy going forward, you just took your energy back from the situation. You just got your power back. That's a really important way of looking at it. So the obstacles die is right on the border of future and fated, and it's called ruin. It's sudden, dramatic, calamitous change. Sudden and irreversible changes in life. And that's interesting given that we have the burned bridges here. So that kind of change then precipitates going, okay, change exists. What am I doing about it? How am I dealing with this? We will all have loss in life. We will all have changes. We will lose relationships. We will lose jobs. Our house might burn down. What do we want to do from there? We can bemoan it, and sure, mourning is a natural part of the process, but beyond mourning, it's now what do I want to build? I remember the story of a woman in an Arabic country, I believe it was, who came home to find her husband and 6 children had been horribly murdered by terrorists. And in that moment, she decided the terrorists would not win. She got married again and she had more children. She decided, I will have another family. They will not destroy my heart. They will not win. That's incredible strength. Rejection comes up right here. And it says, rejection, like many of the die faces that depict 2 sides to something, can often literally use its barrier line with nearby dice to determine the 2 sides of the rejection. So, on the one side, we've got this, get to work. And this side saying, change is inevitable and amoral. In other words, we can reject that and say, no, it's somebody's fault and I'm going to blame them. Or we can get to work and say, change is going to happen. It's just on my path. What am I learning from it? How can I grow? This is the choice you can make in this situation. The change is inevitable. What you do with it, now that's up to you. So on the one side of the burning bridge, we have the spring die, and it says dice found below the seed. can be viewed as the seed soil, and dice overhead as the heights of the plant being grown. So when we simply look at it as part of the burning bridge, it's saying that bridge burning frees up the space and the energy for something new to grow. And we know here it's saying each quadrant is separate. So if we look at this as the fated quadrant, major change, possible big loss, what can grow from that? You have to disturb the soil to plant the seeds. What are you going to grow from that chaos, from that loss? So we've now come to the summer's die, and we've come to the card. So the crone of summer, she's basically inviting you to do some nice things for yourself. Part of dealing with the challenge here and having the energy to do this work is you got to treat yourself. You got to get rest. You got to spend time with friends. In this work, it's not meant to be some grind. There's joy in it as well. There's joy in deciding I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to make the change. I'm no longer going to sit and lick my wounds. I'm going to make a step in the right direction. The summer's die does show up here as excess, and excess is when things go wrong. Excess can be doing, like drinking too much, doing too much in the wrong direction. In the past, we might have dwelt in the past too much, focused too much on this is what went wrong, and I want people to understand how much pain I'm in. And it's saying, again, this is this quadrant. This all needs to be let go of now in order to have the energy to move forward and take the action we're meant to take. The suits die shows up in the present, and wands is the ability to fine-tune your will, focus, drive, and energy. So it's interesting it shows up here. It's saying, time to heal your wounds. Get at it now. It's really time to do this now. And focus your energy on this. This is your time to pivot in your life and make the changes you need to make, because there's things to accomplish and you're going to need energy for that. The winter die on the other side of the burning bridge here. For with the mirror, it's basically a time for patience, thought, and reflection. And it says, who holds the mirror? Which die is looking on itself and for what purpose? So it's basically saying, look closely at why this bridge is burning. How is it burning for you? How is it burning away obstacles so that you now have the energy and focus to grow something new? Let this be a time of introspection. We can either go, this thing is happening that shouldn't be happening and I'm really angry and upset about it. Or we can say, how is this happening for me? What is it bringing up that needs healing? How do I use that healing energy for myself to then take action moving forward? So under future, this is the last die we have here. We have gutted. So gutted is just that feeling of being utterly destroyed, empty, often from a betrayal or a blindsiding or a horrible surprise. It's showing up under future because when we're choosing, I'm going to do the healing work, we're going to have to look at the pain that we've been running away from, that we've been hiding from. How many people, for example, end up in a bad relationship, a bad job? They stay with it because they don't want to acknowledge that it's not working. They don't want to face the pain and the responsibility to do something about that pain. So they sit with it. But once you make the commitment to do that inner healing work, this stuff has to be opened up. This Pandora's box has to be opened up. You have to do the work to face the pain, which can lead to the strong realization of something collapsing in your life that's not working for you. Hence the burning of the bridge, the movement forward, and go, okay, now that I know this, now that I accept this, what am I willing to do about it? What action am I willing to take? Where am I willing to take responsibility? So, some pretty powerful work for us to do. I love how very no nonsense this particular dice spread is this time. It's saying, don't bemoan the past. It's time to move forward. I'll say, okay, I'm going to do the healing work. And if you don't know how to do it, that's what I'm here for. I guide people through processes that help them connect with their emotions, connect with the patterns that have been running their whole life trying to protect them based on what happened in the past. Those patterns aren't conscious. I've developed techniques to help you bring those patterns to consciousness so that once they can see, oh, I'm in an adult body, this is a different situation now, I could make other choices, their energy starts to get freed up for that positive, powerful change you want to make. Is this messy? Yeah. Can it be painful? Hell yeah. But if we're willing to do that work, eventually we find out, first of all, we can survive the pain. We already have. We just did it in a very blocked way. But when you unblock it and you deal with the pain, you now have more energy. You're in flow. You would be amazed what can come your way when you free up that energy that you've hidden behind walls all those years in a state of survival. The friendships, the connections you'll make, the career you could have, the possibilities for adventure and joy and connection in your life. Because we can't fully connect to other people or opportunities if we're all blocked off inside, if we're up in our heads and suppressing our emotions. So this is the emotional healing work that needs to be done now. And as we unpack it, as we do it, all this energy gets freed up. At first, it might feel chaotic. And this is why I work with some people on an ongoing basis. It's let's unwrap this. Let's look at the layers and get you to the point where you can sit, have a feeling, understand what it's about, support that part of you to consciousness. And now it's like sitting in the boardroom and there's more parts of you sitting with you because the parts of you stuck in shame, fear, grief, anger also have some of your wisdom. So as you free that up, you're able to make better decisions. You're choosing the right partner. You're choosing the right career. You're moving to the right location. You're doing the things you're here to do because there's more of you weighing in. And the only way that can happen is to meet those parts where they're at. Whatever feelings they have coming up, you can meet them. You can go, hello, joy, hi, anger, fear, grief, rage, sadness. Hi, welcome. I'm glad you're here. They're all a necessary part of your journey. And as you welcome them and as you accept them, and they start to free up their energy because they start to realize this is not the same scenario as when I was a kid. I have choices now. This feels better. I feel safer because my higher self is communicating with me and listening and caring. They start to heal energy. And with that energy, you can get to work. Okay, this happened in my life. What do I want to build going forward? How do I want to take everything that happened to me and turn that into constructive action? How do I want to take what I experienced and take that as my training in whatever other gifts I'm here to offer others, or in what ways I want to be creative in the world, whether it's through art or dance or poetry, or standing on a stage and talking to people in a way that inspires them. We are all capable of making a bigger difference in the world, and we're much more capable when we are healing and we're freeing up that energy that is naturally creative, naturally wants to come into this world and have adventures and experiences that they can't if they're still behind the wall of persona. If they're still buried behind a mask, they can't show up in the world. They can't experience things as they really are and see that they now have choices and that they can come out and play. So if you don't know how to identify those patterns and support them to consciousness, this is my forte. This is what I do. Reach out to me and let's get you started on getting this work done because this is the time. All right. Thanks so much for showing up, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.